Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to eddylivepod.
Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 244. I am here with my man SkullyOSkully.
Something to be here. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, man. Up and coming musician from the Caribbean,
Yes, sir.
all the way to Taiwan, man.
Yeah.
Tell me what brought you here originally, brother.
So originally I came for schooling. I wanted to do my bachelor's here, but after I got signed for music, so I had to stay.
Oh,
It's been awesome.
that's amazing, man. I mean, that's you say it so quickly, but I mean, to get signed for music, that's huge. I mean, tell me how that happened.
The story's pretty crazy. I mean, actually there was a girl that I was dating that introduced me to another musician. And when we used to go out to shows together, we met one of the executives there, and they wanted us to create a kind of like a jingle for their clothing brand. And when the boss reached out to me and he wanted to like meet me personally. So when I went there, you know, he gave me some sponsorship for some clothes, and it was pretty much up from there. They started the company, and me and Mongchen started working together, and it was like pretty much go.
Okay, beautiful, man. Just double checking the audio there. It looks like it says audio S now. It doesn't even make sense. Okay. Okay. So originally you want to do the bachelor's here, but what brought you, like, what was like, everybody has a different reason for coming to Taiwan at the very beginning, right? Like I came here, I was coaching soccer. You said you were coming to do some school.
Like I did an associate's program in business back home, but like a 2-year program.
Okay.
And my sister was actually coming here for a scholarship, and my dad was like, dude, you got to get out of here. Like, you're doing nothing, you know what I mean? I had to. So he wanted us to kind of travel, and he was here for work, I think maybe 7 years ago. So he was like, you got to go. I love Taiwan.
Okay. People
Get
are
the
nice.
experience.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
and where were you living before here?
I was living in St. Kitts. It's a small island in the Caribbean. So St. Kitts and Nevis, yeah.
Okay. Beautiful, man. So are there many other people from there here?
Yeah, I mean, strangely, I think most of the Kittitians go south for like the science bachelors and those kind of majors.
Okay.
Business is always in, I guess, you know, it's in Taipei. Everyone wants the social life. So I went to Taipei, yeah.
Taipei's good because, there's good food and it's good music and social life and stuff like that. So the music scene in Taipei, tell me a little bit about that. I'm not really involved that much in that, but I love hearing.
You know, it's kind of hard because like depending on the spots that you go to, some people will listen to like Latin or Afro. So like I think hip hop is kind of like it's still emerging in a way.
Okay.
So I think when I first came here, I had to kind of change my perception on like what is hip hop music and what type of hip hop I should actually make. So I think in 2021, the MTV rappers had the audition, and I went. And I thought like, hey, my music's pretty good, you know, feeling myself a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think the style that I was going for wasn't like the style that maybe Taiwanese want to hear. So I think that was a good like kind of experience for me to like go back to the drawing board and see like, okay, I need to change my style, change my look, you know. Yeah.
So when you say the MTV, that's like I grew up watching MTV, but I don't know if the MTV's still going in Canada. I've been here for a long time, so whenever people ask me about, you know, well, how's Canada this and that now? I'm like, I've been here for so long, I don't even know anymore. So tell me a little bit more about the MTV here, and the MTV experience in Taiwan.
That was, I mean, like, I didn't make it very far, but I still tell people, like, you know, I was on MTV.
Yeah, I know. That's already amazing. Yeah.
But the first season is like, they had a bar down in Shinyi rented out. And so like the judges maybe would be on the end of the room, and you're like in a small square and you're waiting for your name, and then you go up, do 60 seconds, and like they either give you a yes or a no. And I was sitting there like, you know, is it gonna
that's gotta be like nerve-wracking.
So nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Okay.
And I thought I was gonna get through, but you know, they gave me a no, and they still did like a few interviews. So I was like, hey, I got like a good experience, met some other coworkers and associates there. And then if you didn't get like a yes, they still gave you like a second chance to make it, where your fans could vote you in. But you know, it's in the app is in Chinese, so
yeah,
we're
that's
still
tough.
Figuring it out. Yeah, but it was an awesome experience.
How is the Chinese, man? How's your Chinese?
It's not as good as it's supposed to be for the amount of time that I've been here, but
5 years is all. I mean, I know people that are here for like 20, 30 that's at zero.
It's just
so
like ni hao and shit.
it's like ni hao. Yeah. I have a buddy who's like I don't know what it is. He's just really, really bad with language, and he's just like, he always is just like, I don't see him for 5 years, and then we go out and he's ordering food in Chinese. I'm like, dude, still?
I'm trying to get to that level.
Yeah.
I mean, back in our country, we learned Spanish and French in school, but so I guess I should have that like affinity to learn it, but I don't know.
It's hard.
Yeah,
man.
the tones get me.
The thing is, like I speak Spanish. My family's from Mexico, right? And then I obviously speak English. And so when I came here, people were like, "Oh, Spanish and English, so you'll pick up the third language easily." But Chinese is not. It's way different. It's so much harder.
It's so much harder because it's like you kind of have to learn the pinyin to kind of turn it over in your mind, and then you have to learn the character and then the tones.
I think for me, what helped with me was I just would kind of like mimic what people would say. Like I would learn like sentences, and that helped me kind of get through things. And then, but also with a restaurant, you have to use it a lot. So
a lot of
so usually, I mean, today it's pretty empty, but usually, when it's pretty busy, I try to go around and chat with people and speak English or Spanish or Chinese and stuff. So I try to do that, man.
Awesome.
But so tell me about when you knew that you were like, okay, music is the thing I want to do.
Actually, I think it's when I first got to Taiwan. Like, I had started maybe just a few months before I left in my country. I did like a performance for a university, and that was like my first performance ever, and kind of seeing like what is the reaction to the music that I make. And I was like, oh, okay, this is actually not that bad.
Feeling good.
Yeah, feeling good. So when I got here, I met a group, Northside Block. I don't think they're still together, but we're all split up a little bit. And they kind of took me in and gave me a little bit of mentorship.
That was here. Yeah.
So almost like my first year, I was already performing and stuff. So I was like, I should probably take this serious.
It's a cool thing when you come here, because I mean, like when you're in like your own country, you're like the average, you're not average Joe, but you're just like, there's a lot of you.
Yeah,
it seems like for me too, like in Canada, you go to Mexico, same thing. But then when you come here, they're like, oh, you speak English and Spanish. Oh my gosh, that's great. And I'm like,
yeah, you kind of,
everybody's
you
like
can use
that.
the uniqueness to kind of like play it up a little bit.
It's a good spot, man. I think it's great. Yeah.
It's awesome.
So you mentioned North Side, right? So tell me a little about that. A little bit.
I met them actually. I think you had a guest on here, Planet Josh.
Oh yeah, for sure. No,
he's
Planet
the
Josh.
one. We went to university together, so he introduced one of the guys there, and they reached out to me, and then we just was like, okay, this is awesome. Like, let's keep this going. And then I think everyone kind of wanted to like do a different style of hip hop, so we're all kind of cool still, but yeah, we just kind of went our separate ways.
Okay. But so after that, I mean, are there lots of collaborations that you got to do in Taiwan? I mean, how does that happen?
Yeah, I've worked with a lot of artists.
A lot of people. Yeah, I know.
I work with JY, Sunny Welly, Asian Way. There must be some others, but sometimes it's like we're still kind of making that list together. And Mongshen as well, like he's my brother, he's one of my brothers too. So yeah, met a lot of collaborations.
So those guys, I mean, how did you get to like plug into that? Was it through the first group you made, or
I think some of them, but I have a friend who owned a bar called Chen-Yi, and he opened up a bar in Ximen, and he invited me to perform there. I think that's where I met Sunny and Welly and Asian Way, and their shows are super crazy. Like if you see the kind of performances where people are jumping into the crowd, that's them.
That's them.
Yeah, that's them. It's like these are the guys, right?
These are the guys. Okay. That's always good. That's always good, brother. So tell me about your debut show in Taiwan. Right, it was VSMNT. Tell us a little bit about that, because a lot of us guys, we don't really even know about that stuff, man. Tell me about that.
So the basement, wow, that's so many years ago. Now that I'm thinking about it, but like, my sister was my videographer back then too.
You gotta have the family.
Yeah, I gotta have the family business involved in it. And she took like a bunch of videos for us going down there, and I was just remember like being really nervous, like. I remember my first performance where I just was like holding the mic and like singing the song, kind of hoping that it'll merit enough attention. But I was like, I'm not gonna let that happen again. I want to like get it out.
Yeah, so you got to get out.
Yeah, I wanted to like have a good performance.
Like this, bam. Yeah.
This one was, I think it's my favorite show by far.
Oh really? This is such a great picture, man. I love that.
I think it emphasizes kind of what I try to do on stage.
Good.
But this one at the basement, it's like. The crowd is like right in front of you. Like there's a small stage and like you're just right there in front of them. So I kind of felt like
How does it feel when they're that close?
So nerve-wracking.
For sure, I'm sure. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
really
yeah.
nerve-wracking, but I think it gave me a good insight on like how to reach out to people and talk to them. Because I mean, like, there's a Chinese, you got to talk a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's also the feeling like these people are here to hear you, so like you don't need to be afraid of them or like be afraid to talk. And
True.
I just went crazy. We were jumping off the stage and
Nice,
everything,
nice,
going
nice,
crazy. And then
Okay.
it's a big group, so it's like even if the crowd is not kind of feeling maybe one song,
Okay.
it's still like my friends in the crowd. They were like, I love this guy, you know what I mean? So that one was pretty good. And then we kind of just spiraled out and just kept doing more and more. So it was pretty much up from there.
So that was the first one, right? So
Mm-hmm.
let's keep the story going from there. Like,
Mm.
so what happened sort of after that, you know, with your career moving forward?
I think I took almost like a year off, honestly, from like performing, because it was kind of hard, like being on stage all the time and like kind of, I mean, like I'm okay performing and talking, but there's still like a type of stress that comes on.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So I took a long time off, and then I came back and I was like, I'm not gonna stop again. It was
Okay.
like performing every weekend while being in college and like
Oh, shoot.
working. So I had
Okay.
the whole thing going
Okay.
for a while. Yeah.
I think like momentum is something, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
So when you just keep going, I mean, you just got to keep the ball moving.
Yeah,
right?
you got to keep going, because I think, especially I was unsigned, so it's like
Okay.
if you don't release anything, if you're not in the public eye, people are gonna forget about you because you don't have that core fan base yet, where
Okay.
people will be like, "I'm waiting on his next thing." It's like
Okay.
you disappear, that's it. So,
So-
I had to go back.
So what's like a tip for somebody who's thinking about, you know, they want to do something like what you're doing? Just
Music.
keep going. Yeah, music. Yeah.
I would say you kind of have to be like a modern Renaissance man in a way.
Okay.
It's like I would say like you do a podcast and
Yeah.
you have a great voice, but the moment like you put the label in terms of like you just have a great voice, then it's like you're stuck there until
Okay.
whatever allows you to use your great voice. But if you're doing the podcast, you can do a little bit of audio engineering, a little
Yeah.
visual arts. It's like once you can do it all and you can be your own teammate until you have to delegate it,
Yeah.
you're pretty much set, because when you do get the help and someone does sign you, you kind of know what the help should look
Okay.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd say like just learn everything as much as you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take that as a compliment, man.
Yeah,
You know,
awesome. I love it.
I think the funny thing was with the podcast, I started with it's been like almost maybe 5 years, and I started with an old GoPro and some like kind of crappy.
Yeah.
Actually, the first mic was like I did a bunch of research, and at that time, everybody's like, you got to get the Blue Yeti
Oh, yeah, yeah,
condenser
yeah.
mic. You got to get that condenser mic.
Yeah, everyone
And I'm
talked
like,
about the Blue
I'm like,
Yeti.
okay, let's get it. So I'd get it, and then you know I'd have it right here, and you know it's so sensitive. It would hear all the buses. It would hear all the dishes, and it would just hear everything. And then people were like, "Oh my gosh, the audio is awful." I'm like, "But I did all the research. Everybody says get a Blue Yeti." And I have a buddy who's like a musician, and he said, "You know, I had this mixer here for karaoke night and for live music." And he's like, you know, like he just brings this cable and he just like starts plugging things in, and he's like, "Here, use these." And I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
shoot, this
Yeah.
is way better."
It's way
Blue Yeti.
better.
And then I
Yeah,
sold my
yeah.
Blue Yeti. Like, damn you, Blue Yeti. Yeah. So funny, right? It's just like, shoot.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you slowly are like, you know, try to do some more research and you try to get better at stuff. And it's funny. I have a lot of people that do like you know, BJJ and MMA and stuff like that. And I was pushing them for a few years. I'm like, you have the commentary, you have the
Yeah.
big fight nights, you got to have English because there's lots of people.
Wow, right,
and
right.
like, well, we don't have anyone who'll do it. I'm like, shoot, I'll do it. So I went and I started setting stuff up. And then from then on, it's like, hey, you're doing the English
You're doing
commentary.
it,
I'm like,
yeah.
hey, this is great. Yeah, this is really cool.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I love that, man. It's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you though, like
Shoot,
in
man.
terms of like when you were preparing for your podcast, like do you have that problem where you kind of want to know all the information before you step in, or you're kind of more like figuring it out as you go, preferably?
Definitely. So yeah, I'll figure it out as I'm going. I think what happens with like a lot of people, for everybody really in the beginning, something that we call like a analysis paralysis.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like you get that and you're like, no, but I've got to make sure that I have to, you know, I have to do this. No, I have to make sure I have 3 cameras. I have to make sure I have 2 cameras, and 2 microphones. And I've had podcasts with, you know, 4 people and stuff. And I'm like, I got to make sure I have like the 4-person mixer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I can't start, you know. And then I just said, okay, let's start. And yeah, the first ones were bad, you know. Like I remember some of the podcasts in the beginning. Like I said, I had this GoPro Hero 5. It's like 12 or something now. So I had
Yeah.
the 5, and you know, I did the research, and I'm like, if you plug it in, you know, it won't turn off, right? So I had got all the cables, I plugged it all in and stuff, and I had this this fighter on. He's telling this story, and it was like this amazing story, and I hear this like beep 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 beep, and the thing just turns off, and it's just like says no signal, black screen, no signal, and he's like pouring his heart out on this story, and I'm just like.
You gotta cut him
And
off.
I'm like,
can we
dude,
do that
I'm so
again?
sorry. I'm so sorry. I need to change the battery on my GoPro, you know. And he's just like what was it? It was crazy, yeah. And then you slowly, you know, you think the GoPro looks really good. I'm like, oh my god, the GoPro is so good. And then, you know, I do a research and I find this little like Sony sort of camera, and then I get that, I'm like, oh my god, this is good. And the GoPro looks crap, you know. And then I'm like, oh my god, the GoPro's so crappy, I can't believe it, you know, I was using it for so long. And then a buddy of mine, he's like a videographer guy, and he just bought like a brand new camera, and he had like another camera, and he's like, I have this other one, and I'm like, if it's got an HDMI out, then I'll take it. I'll take it, you know. And so I bring it in, then I set it all up. And I'm like, oh my god, that looks good. Oh, the Sony looks like crap, you know. And it's just like, it's like no.
Just keep building on.
Yeah, and then we start with like these, you know, these old, like not old mics, but like SM58, like these microphones that like these singing microphones.
Yeah.
And they were really good. And I've always wanted like, I love music, and I love like all that old like Elvis Sinatra stuff. Right? So I saw these. I'm like, oh, I got to get those. No, I have to get two. I can't just have one. You know, and you're just just crazy. You know.
Yeah, it builds up. It builds up.
It's crazy.
It's good to have the equipment, because I feel like the perception, like especially when you're doing something creative, people, the first impression you give them is like what they're gonna take for it. So if they only see like low quality equipment and like the look is like kind of like basic, people will feel like, he's not really serious about it. But when you got the whole
all
setup, it's like they're like, this guy.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. No, like I think that too. And but you know what's funny? I've interviewed some like really big YouTubers and stuff, and from all over the world, you know, doing their thing here, and some of them like I'll interview them, and then you know they'll interview me for their channel, and like they come in with like a iPhone, just kind of like and I'm like, how are you getting more views than me? This is crazy. The audio's crap, and it's just like what but then their shit's like blowing up, and I'm like, oh my, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's so amazing.
It's crazy how things work, right? Yeah. So another story, tell me about food, music culture, Taiwan.
Food and music culture. I mean, everyone recommends that like you go down south and get that Tainan experience. I haven't yet, but so far, I think like the food we eat compared to like the Caribbean, I think it's a little similar. It's just maybe the preparation is different. Like, we really like our gravy and our marinating, you know what I mean? Marinating the food and everything. So
what's a typical meal for you guys, man?
That's hard. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd go with some ribs, a little bit of gravy sauce on it. And then we do like we have this meal called cook up, where it's like you boil the rice with the chicken, and so it kind of turns out really brown, and the rice is like kind of like more meaty flavored.
Oh, nice.
So you add a couple of that inside, and then you got to have the vegetables like the pumpkin, a little bit of broccoli, a little carrot, a little onion shavings on the side. Yeah, man, we do it all. I miss food, man.
Making me hungry, dude. Yeah. Do you get to go back much?
Yeah, I just came back 2 months ago, actually.
Oh, really? Okay,
we went back. Me and my manager, we did a music video there with Phil Hat. So that's he's like my. I guess you would say he's like the videographer that I always work with when I go back home. Like, that's my guy. So we did a video and posted it, came back, and just took some time off to relax, kind of rejuvenate a bit, see some family, and then back to it.
That's great, dude. Yeah. We got something comment from Josh here. Renaissance men, he says. Those technical difficulties.
Shout out to my guy Josh.
Yeah, he said he was gonna take a break from the podcast, but he's got a good podcast, man. So we gotta keep pushing him to keep going, man. He's good. He's good at it. So tell me about that trip, man. So you're doing music here, then you went back to do music there. So you kind of connecting the two cultures. So tell me about that.
I'm trying to find a way actually to kind of mix that Afro vibe with like a little bit of Chinese, because I don't think anyone really does it like on a full scale. So I hope to like kind of merge the cultures, but it's still like very hard for me to embrace that, because like when I started music, is like I did hip hop and I didn't really do that Afro reggaeton kind of style. So it's like I I gotta go back and do my research about
Okay.
culture. And
Is that what the popular stuff is here? Like black stuff, black culture, the African, the reggaeton stuff, or what's the popular sort of
in my country?
and no here, like
In
here,
Taiwan.
yeah. Like your genre, what's the you're saying that the hip hop is kind of upcoming?
I would
Then
say it's really hard to describe because even sometimes maybe I work with like my Taiwanese friends.
Sure.
We'll both listen to like, for example, a Little Baby beat.
Okay.
And the flow that I have is like he'll say something completely different. I was like, it sounds good, but it's like I wouldn't have think of that. So it's like it's hard to explain it, but I guess it's more like a Travis Scott kind of melodic hip hop, I would say.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And you're thinking about mixing the Chinese in there, yeah?
Yeah.
I think that's always good because I think like when I grew up, there was people always mixing the English and the Spanish, and then here, some people do it somewhat, but not that much. And I don't think it's that well. I don't think it's done well. So I think if somebody does it well,
It'll be
that would be great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be great.
and here everybody wants to learn English, and they everybody sings English and stuff. And I think that Taiwan has an amazing, culture, right? So I think that people, the world would love to.
Yeah.
to
There's
hear
a
about
lot
it.
of
Yeah.
talent here. There's
Yeah.
a lot of talent here.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah. So you've experienced collaborating with a bunch of different people, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about how you met Majin.
Oh, Majin, that's my good friend right there. We
Okay.
met. I think I was doing like Instagram ads.
Okay.
And
Nice.
I know, right?
That's
like
a great story.
Instagram
Yeah.
ads.
Good. Yeah. Got to do it.
I posted a few videos and she was like, dude, are you in Taiwan? I really like this song. And I was like, yeah. And then we started talking and then she was like, let's meet up and see what we can do. So we went to her studio and we just were, mashing up some sounds, seeing what we could create and stuff and just getting to know each other. And I think from there, it's like, we've been friends. Like she'll go to my shows, I'll go to her shows, and she'll just give me a little bit support because she did the MTV show the second season.
Okay.
And so she kind of has more, I guess, work around the industry. So she'll be like, oh, well, in 3 months, I see your trajectory. You're going to have like this happen. You're like, how do you know that? And, like, right on the money. It'll happen to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So she calls it every time. That's my good friend right there. She's awesome.
So you've been collabing with her, right? And then a whole bunch of people. Like you got a list of folks
there's a big list. I mean, I always kind of, I didn't grow up here locally, so it's always good to like kind of get that feedback in terms of like what people are looking for and like how we can help each other, because I think there's a specialness about working with foreigners too.
Yeah, for sure.
I think like you can share that experience, and everyone wants to kind of do the same thing. So it's always good to like kind of feedback and like work with them as well.
I think it's the same. Like with me, we have the restaurant. Right? I know so many restaurant owners, and whenever we get together, we're always just kind of like joking and chatting and just shit talking about the same things, and it's crazy, right? And it doesn't matter where they're from, Canada or States or Europe or Australia or wherever. It's the same story, it's kind of crazy. And also after doing the podcast, like some of the big YouTubers and stuff, they come in and we'll be chatting and stuff, and then after we turn off the mics, it just everybody's just like and it's just so funny. And I'm like, but because you see them on like their channels and everyone's like super positive, Mr. Happy, and then after they're like, oh my gosh, they're doing this shit, oh my gosh,
they get it.
So it's crazy, but I mean it's cool because I love to get the chance to chat with people. I started doing the podcast because with the restaurant for like 16 years or so. You just meet so many cool people. You meet sometimes you meet like students, you meet musicians, you meet comedians, you meet like professional fighters. You meet like the CEO of like Dogoro, like you just meet like all these people that come in to eat, and it's just like you start chatting with people, and it's crazy how some of these people, that everybody are just coming in to eat and hanging out, and so sometimes you have a really good chat, and you're just like, oh man, I wish I could share this. So basically, that's why I started this.
That's a great idea. I like the way you mixed both of them together. Because I was gonna ask what made you want to do food and like the media as well? It's so interesting mix.
Yeah. So the food, I mean, we've been doing the food for a long time. It's been like 16 or 17 years, and but no, maybe not 7. I don't know. 21 years I've been here, maybe 17. I don't know, something like, I don't know. It's a blur now. Yeah. But it's been a long time. And then this is I'm a big fan of like Joe Rogan, right? I know a lot of people love him, a lot of people hate him, but I know what I love about him is he does everything like this, like just live, but also he'll bring in like musicians. He'll bring in friends. He'll bring in like everybody.
open
And just come
platform
in
here,
and just come and chat. And I love it, man. So try to do something like that. And yeah, it's pretty. It's just like it's like real talk. And yeah, and I'm learning now how to make like clip videos and stuff like that. Just kind of like
the shorts,
just shorts like that and stuff like that. And just kind of, I'm always, instead of watching a movie or whatever, I'll buy like a course and be like, you gotta have the hook, you gotta have this, and it's just like 3 to 5 second hook at the beginning of your, and you're just like, okay. And I'm sitting here and just like, I'm trying to get it all going. So yeah.
I've seen like the shorts, they've like kind of exploded for like podcasting and comedians.
They
as well.
have, yeah.
Interesting.
It's cool. I think like Rogan again, again, I always kind of see what he's doing, and then the Joe Rogan clips and stuff like that. And it seems cool, man. I don't know. I love it. I love doing it, and then it's fun, right?
It's fun,
and you can either have a coffee or drink or whatever. And then a couple of weeks ago, I had a Polish guy who's here doing some MMA seminars, right? Nice. And I'm like, oh, what do you want to drink? He's like, oh, let's do tequila. I was like, okay. And then boom, we're doing shots of tequila. And then before, I don't even remember, like before, I like leaving here is a complete blackout till the next day. And I haven't been like that in a really long time. We probably did like a bottle and a half, 2 bottles of tequila, just shots, right? Because I mean, he's this Polish guy, just like shooting. And then I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah. And then like from packing up, and then he was leaving, and then just kind of like, okay, I'm going to walk home from then till like the next morning is like complete blackout, man. It's bad. I haven't been like that probably in like 15 years. It's
university.
Crazy. It's the university, basically. I haven't been like that since university.
Right on that peak right now.
There you go, right? And it's like, what day is it? Shoot, it's crazy, man. It's crazy, yeah.
That's awesome.
So tell about the experience with Kai and Ray, man.
Oh, that was so crazy.
Okay.
Because I remember there was a clip I saw that Kai and Ray met in Taiwan.
Okay.
And I saw like he occasionally comes back to like visit, and someone posted like, oh, I heard a rumor Kai's gonna be here tomorrow. And I was like, okay, that seems pretty fun. So I was
great.
Like, I stayed up to like 5 that morning because I was like, I don't know where they're gonna go, and like we're trying to stream snipe him just a little bit, just a little bit of stalking.
Sure. No, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
So they posted, and like we were like watching the sun trajectory, like, okay, they're like east side, and
oh wow,
I'm getting it really like technical. Okay. So we saw they were heading to Xiamen, and I was like, okay, it's time to go. We gotta go.
They're in Xiamen. Let's go.
Let's go. So we headed there, and he was eating. I wanted to be a little respectful because I know how that is.
I can imagine.
He's still doing his thing. So I waited, and then he came outside, and he was like, yo, and it's like, I don't know. It's about, I think black people have that specific thing where when we see each other in the place, it's like, what are you doing here? But like,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, so he's like,
what's going on?
Yeah, so we embraced it.
Another black guy.
Yeah, I'm not the only one.
That actually Mexicans are the same.
The same way.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
So it's like the same thing. So we talked for a little bit, and then we took some pictures, and I think Ray said like, oh, this guy looks like Soy Lee, and then everyone on the stream was like taking that and running with it. So like my name was SkullyOSkully for a while.
Really?
And all the comments were like posting. I think Drake or something commented on it.
Really?
Like, yeah, this guy looks like Soy Lee, and all the comments are just like Soy Lee for a while. I just took the joke and ran with it. I think that's pretty funny.
Okay. That's funny, man. Yeah. And then so tell me a little bit more about that interaction you had with him.
But
you guys
it was
some time
good
together.
Because it kind of like, I guess like when you see it online, it's like the difference in person is like he's genuinely a nice guy. I think it's like people maybe think like, oh, he's playing it up for the camera, but no, he's like, he's actually like that. He's really friendly. And I think just having that interaction and kind of like, for myself, seeing how to like operate on camera and like treat people. Because it's some things like maybe people feel like you're too aloof, but you're just kind of not sure how to greet them. But it's like, if you embrace people, they feel like, whoa, okay, this guy's like, so I'm still like kind of learning that as well too. So it was good to see, and then it kind of helped me in terms of like putting ads behind that and getting some traction from that too. Yeah, so it was awesome.
Was there a lot of people out there also trying to do the same thing?
The whole street was like filled up with it.
That's hilarious.
The whole street was filled up with people. I think for the whole day, people were just like, "Where's Kai, dude? Where did you meet Kai? Where's he going now?" I was like, guys, I don't know. I left. All right, you got to do the same thing I did.
You're like, hey, I did what I had to do. That's what's up. It's funny because in Taiwan, I think nobody wants to be like the first person to be like, go and say something. But one of my buddies, he's a drummer for like a rock and roll band here, which is a Ubai in China Blue, right?
Okay.
It's a big one, right? So my buddy's the drummer there. And I went to his wedding, right? So it was me and my brother-in-law, and we're sitting there. They put like kind of the famous, people-ish at one table, and then beside them they put the foreigners, because we don't know who anybody is.
Yeah.
Just like we don't know who anybody is, right? But everybody knows that one guy,
that
right,
one
with the
thing,
hair and stuff, right? And so, but sitting with us was my brother-in-law. It's supposed to be my wife, but at the end she's like, "No, I'll just take my brother." So he came out. And we're sitting there, and he's just like, we gotta go take that picture with him. I'll just let the guy eat, man. He's just like, no, we gotta go. Never gonna have another chance. Never have another chance. I'm like, just take it easy, right? And so I'm like, let's just eat, let him eat. After that, then we'll go say hello, whatever, right? Just let the guy eat first. So then, it's just like, okay, he's eating. He just keeps like bugging me, and the guy's sitting there by himself. He's just kind of just chilling. And then I'm like, okay.
No,
Let's go say hello. So we go over to the guy. I'm like, hey, sorry, but can we get an autograph or something? I can't remember what I said. Something like that.
It was in Chinese.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember what I said. And then my brother-in-law was just kind of behind me, like so excited. And he looks at me, and he's like, he's not happy.
Oh,
like he's looking at me like he's just. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh. This guy he's an asshole, right? What the fuck, I'm like, okay. And then I'm thinking, why is he so he does it, and then he just kind of gives me like this evil eye, and I'm like, why is he so pissed? I'm like, so I turn around to go sit down, and there's like a line of like 80 people behind me.
Oh my God.
That's why he was pissed.
That's why.
And I'm like, oh no, I'm the asshole. He's not, it's me, I'm like, oh no. So like everybody was just like, shh. And I'm like, oh. Then I looked there, I'm like, oh shit. I'm sorry, dude, because nobody wants to be that first asshole. So I'm like, all right, I'll do it. I'm like, just go say hi. I mean, it's no big deal, But everybody else was just kind of like staring, And I'm like, oh shoot. And then I'm just like, oh, so I'm the asshole, not him. That's crazy, man. So that's the Sway Lee joke, right?
Yeah, that's the Sway Lee joke. Okay. Everyone's been wondering.
Beautiful. Okay. So your performance at Pipe with Sonny and Welly.
Oh,
Tell me about that, man.
Awesome one. Do you have a picture you can pull up?
I got some. Let's go through the pictures here.
Yeah.
I don't have them all. You sent me like 10,000 here. But, so let's go through some of the pictures, and you tell me what's up in the picture.
Oh, okay. So this one was Majin's first MV in Taiwan. So that's one. He's the guy on the left. He's Kai. That's an event planner. Okay. And then there's Drifting Lee, and I think Izzy M's back there, another artist. And then we're all just kind of hanging out, taking some photos there on the set. This one's pretty awesome.
That's a good picture.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
There was, I wanted to get them all, but it's hard to.
Yeah,
there's so many in there.
I gave you a lot of material.
But it's good because sometimes people don't give me any, and then I'll go into like a Instagram and I'll grab some, and then they're like, oh, yeah, she broke up with me. Oh, and they're just like, and I'm like, oh, next picture, next picture, yes, that's bad. Yeah,
journalism is too good.
I'm like, whoops, yeah.
Oh, this one
is like a rooftop.
Yeah. So, wow, there's a lot of artists here. So this was for our music video, Gang with me and Sonny and Welly again. And then there's like Joker, 242, Sonny and Welly, I think Asian Way, Daniel Black. There's a bunch of artists that came that day. So yeah, those are like kind of like the influential people that I've been spending time with while I'm here, just like being friends, mentorship, and we're all just trying to like build a little hip hop community and support each other.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. That's awesome.
That's a good picture.
That's a good one. There's so many good ones, bro.
This one was the one in Taoyuan, and I want to say there was 1,000 people there, and the difference between like just having performances like in underground places compared to like a whole like kind of stage, it's so different because it's like, I don't know why, but it seems like they're not allowed to be very close to the stage. And I kind of like that feeling where I can like reach out and like high five you and like, we take a picture on stage. I like that feeling, but I guess this was like my kind of introduction to like how it is to like officially perform and have more space on stage and like get used to that whole like moving your body around.
Is there a reason? Is it safety or any idea?
No, maybe they just want the camera angles at the front.
That's probably
so maybe,
Cameras,
but this was awesome. This is one I did with Lee Mong Chen, where we were debuting our song "It's Good," and we were working with this studio called TT Dance Studio, and they were also the dancers in our music video. So they invited us like, "Hey, you guys come do the song with us." So there were kids everywhere, and dances everywhere, and it was awesome. I like this one too.
Nice. Yeah. Well, there's like I said, it's hard to choose, bro. That's a good one, man.
But this was
a good picture.
This was one of my favorites. This is that pipe.
Like
And
Tupac in that picture, man. It's a good picture. Dude.
yeah,
It's like,
the vein and everything.
Yeah, it
coming
looks
out.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they were doing a performance here, and they were like, "Hey, come down and let's do our songs together." So we had one song called Homicide, and usually, I mean, like before this, my performance is like I just invite my friends and like, "Hey, you invite your friends," and like, but you get used to seeing everybody eventually around that time. But this was like my first time like going out to a crowd and like getting that like, whoa, we don't know this guy, but he's awesome, kind of feeling. And so like
that's great.
Everyone's recording and like hype and stuff. And so I kind of felt like that kind of feedback and that payoff. And like, okay, what you're doing is working. Like people like this, and this is your crowd. Like
it's beautiful.
Yeah. So this was awesome.
Love that.
And yeah, Sonny jumped off into the crowd in this one too. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. That's awesome.
There you go.
Love it. People catch him though, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
And this is like behind the scenes of It's Good with me and Mongshen again, and some of the dancers were just taking pictures together. I think this shoot it must have been 9 or 8 hours.
Really?
And probably 4 hours just for like one specific scene, because we wanted to do like kind of a one shot of where like we're walking down a hallway and then the camera spins up upstairs and I'm walking down that same hallway and then going downstairs. And the amount of times that I tripped or like tore my shirt on, it took forever. And the director, he was serious. He's like, we're doing it until it's perfect. So
okay.
It took like 4 hours for that specific scene, and then
final product was good though.
It was awesome.
All right.
It looks great. It looks good. I think we're at like 30K right now. So,
really?
Yeah.
Nice. Congrats, brother.
Thank
Love
you.
that. I tried to squeeze 2 in there, man. It looks like some kind of a signing.
Yeah. So this is it's like the official signing that I was going for with BMC. That's the company that signed me. And then there's my dad in the background, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
They came to see my graduation.
Oh.
And so actually when I met my boss, it's like we were kind of already talking. So they got to see me graduate, luckily, and got to see my career kind of start too.
You said he was here, right? For working for a bit?
Yeah. He's a customs officer. So we had a little joint operation about maybe sharing some training techniques. And so he came here for maybe like 2 weeks, and you got to go to Taipei 101. So
of course,
I always have to go take a picture, water bottle for him, and
awesome.
some snacks. So he loves that.
Any particular snacks that he loves that he's missing from out here?
Nougats. I think last time he had me fill up like a whole suitcase of them. And
that's so funny.
He's addicted. We gotta watch his sugar a bit.
That's funny. Yeah, I know the feeling, man. I know that feeling. Got a couple more pictures here. Let me. That's that one, and but this one. This
yeah. So this is Kai and Ray. We're back in Shimin, and we're just taking some pictures, trying to a little social proof.
Yeah.
This day was good, but actually, if you go back to that one on the one before.
This one here.
Yeah, this is the show on the right side. That's the show that I met. I met my manager, and I think since that day, like she's always been like super supportive, like taking videos, any contracts, any like videos that I need, skits. She'll always give me the ideas. She's super proactive and stuff. So yeah, she's awesome. And that's her signing it there with me.
Oh yeah, it is. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful.
That's awesome.
That was that one, and then I got this one. Yeah, I had to get one with
that's
her.
our company. That's her on the left, and then there's my engineer and another coworker, and then my boss in that picture too. So yeah, we're a small team, but we get a lot of work done because it's like everyone has to depend on each other and trust each other. So and you kind of have more control where you can all meet and talk with each other. So yeah, we're a small team, but we get it done.
So what's the process from you to make, like, let's say make new lyrics, make a new song? Like what kind of inspires you to be like, I'm going to make a new song and I'm going to base it on this. I'm going to start this.
Actually, and again, I go back to like my manager because she grew up here. So a lot of the time I was like, I'll just play a beat and like, do you think Taiwanese are like this? She's like, no. And then I'll just, scrap that. Let's get the next one going. And so she'll kind of like help me out with the beat process. And then I kind of want to integrate a little bit more Chinese into it now. So I'll be like, is that a sound in Chinese? And she's like, no, you got to think of something else. So she'll kind of help me a little bit with the lyrics, and then maybe I'll like Google translate a bit of it. And then if it like phonetically is then I'll add that in. But I mean, some of the songs is just it's almost like magical in a way. Like the one I did with Mongshen, it's good.
Okay.
We were just like kind of playing around the studio, and like we kind of have this thing in our company where we're just like, oh yeah, I like the song, it's good. And then he was like, yeah, it's good. And then we were laughing, and then we got the hook. And then it was like, okay, let's do the lyrics.
Same thing, right? You got to have a hook, right?
Yeah,
okay, it's all about the hook. It's all about the hook. Yeah.
So
it's funny. It's funny every time I'm doing any kind of work, and I'll be like, okay, let me just, I'll do some research. It's just like 3 to 5 seconds. You got to get the hook. You got to get the hook. I'm like, for every video, like, you got to have a hook. It's like, shoot, man. Okay.
It takes
so it's like, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
When it flows, it flows.
Yeah, man.
So Mongshen again, he's a good mentor for me because he has a bit of experience here as well too.
Okay.
And he's so talented. Like, there's days when I've been in the studios with him and he's just freestyling for like 10 songs.
Really?
Just like, okay, next beat. Okay, next beat. And he's just going. And he's awesome. I think we made that song in like 10 minutes.
Really?
Yeah,
What? Really?
yeah,
Okay.
It was awesome.
Wow.
He's pretty good.
And so the song, you keep saying it's good, it's good, it's good. So there's the song called "It's Good."
Yeah.
Right.
So there it goes.
So that's the one we're talking about. Right? Okay.
Full
Okay.
circle.
That's awesome, man. So, and you said there's also like a documentary, right, about your life.
Yeah, tell
me about
we're
that,
just
man.
like, I guess the maybe the feeling is that I'm a little bit kind of in my shell a little bit when it comes to like talking. So
Sure, man.
They thought it'd be a good idea just to kind of like, get around who's SkullyOSkully, talk a little bit more about like what I'm doing, what I'm going through, what I got planned, and so just kind of have an introduction.
So is that being made now, or is it made? Where can we get that?
I think it's
Where can we watch
finished.
it? Yeah.
It's coming soon, but I have a super big song coming out really soon.
Okay.
Not gonna spoil it yet,
Okay,
but
okay.
look out for that. Yeah, look out.
Okay. So you're gonna kind of stagger them, kind of a release dates and stuff like that. Okay.
We're coming soon.
Beautiful. Okay. So you're talking about you're a little bit in your shell. So it's like shy, like introverted type deal, or how? Because going on singing is just about as opposite as it gets, right? So tell me a little bit more about that, because I actually grew up as well, like super duper introverted as well. So when I came out here, you come out here, you're alone, and you just like, you can't be, you have to kind of try to do stuff. You kind of got to
get out there.
You got to like, make stuff happen, and then it happens, and you're like, oh wow, this is actually this is good. So tell me a little bit about that, man.
I mean, like, I think like performing the song, I don't have any problem, but it's like the break between is like when you got to talk to the crowd and like, hey, what's up, guys? And drink a little bit of water. That part is like, I'm still getting used to that. But I think the thought process behind it is just like, these people are here for you. So you don't need to like be afraid or be hesitant. And
There's no sales. You don't need to sell them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I found that like Taiwanese fans specifically, they're really open and honest. Like, if I look good, they'll be like, dude, you're the most handsome guy ever. And if I look bad, they're like, don't ever wear this again. You got that jacket from Shein. Like, they'll be really honest.
Oh, wow.
So it kind of makes me feel comfortable. Like when I get a reaction, I know like it's the truth.
It's true. Taiwanese people are funny because you can get like 5 pounds, you get fat or something, and they'll be like, oh, you're fat. Dude, because back home, no one says anything. Like you can be like fat as hell, and people will be like, okay, interesting. No one's gonna say, but here, like, hey, what's up, fatso? Like, getting fat. You're like, what happened to you? You're fat. You're like,
it's exactly
crazy.
that.
It's so crazy, right?
Yeah.
And I remember, this is a long time ago, I got like some kind of a stomach flu, right? And I got sick and I just lost like a bunch of weight, and I was like, I'm about like 6'2" right? And I dropped down to like about 150 pounds, right?
Ooh, nice.
Like I was like bones,
Wow.
And I went to school, I went to work, and I went in and like my face was like sunken in and like my eyes were like black, and I went in like a zombie, and I'm like, I feel horrible, I look horrible. But the Taiwanese people, they're just like, man, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. You look great. I'm just like, what? I'm like, believe, like, anorexic. This guy who's like withering away. They're like, man, you look great. Keep it up. White, black eyes. You're like skinny. I'm like, what the hell? Like, it's so crazy, dude. Yeah.
It's like that here.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
it's really like that here. I had a crazy experience in terms of like, I remember I went out one night, and I think that was the day I know like I'm gonna live here. Like I went out and I was gonna put down the deposit for my rent. So I had like 3 months worth of rent like in cash in my wallet. and it was raining and
Nice.
I lost my wallet,
Yeah.
IDs, cards, everything. And I was
Yep.
like, dude, my life is over. My parents are gonna kill me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I was in university at the time, you know.
Of course, yeah,
you
yeah,
gotta
yeah.
take that cash out. So
Exactly.
I was like, I don't know what to do. I'll just like call the police station. They're like, I called and I was like, oh yeah, it's down here. Come and get it. And I was like, okay, I gotta cancel my cards, get my
Yeah.
driver's license back. Cause you know, back home, like
Yeah,
that was missing.
Yeah.
They're gonna take your driver's license just because, you know.
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
for sure.
And when I got down, like all the money was there, the
That's
ID cards,
crazy.
everything was there. I was like, I didn't even think that could happen. You know?
It's crazy because here, I mean, I've lost like my keys and my wallet and my phone like multiple times.
Yeah.
You know, you go into like a coffee shop or something, right? And you're eating, and you know you get a call, and then it's too loud, or you just leave like your wallet and your keys and your like laptop. Everything's there. You like all this stuff. You just leave it there.
Yeah.
You go outside and you're talking. It's like 45 minutes or something. And then you go back in and no one's touched anything.
It's there.
Your water's like refilled. It's like, what?
It's amazing.
It's crazy, right?
I love Taiwan. Yeah.
It's great, man. Yeah, no, like I said, I've been here for a long time, and my plan was like maybe 2 years. And then it's just like after that, I thought, well, I'm gonna go back to like I love Canada, I love my hometown and stuff. But it's like, nah, this is a great place to be, man.
It's a great place.
Great place to be, dude. Yeah. So how do you navigate the balance between like sharing personal story and upbringing and connecting it to the music with your audience? Like how do you connect everything?
I think you kind of have to do like a bit of both, because sometimes like I think especially when I first started,
Yeah.
maybe people don't really know who you are. They don't really care about your story. So you kind of have to the hook, you know.
The hook, you gotta have a hook.
gotta have the
It's
hook.
all about a hook. Everything's hook.
Yeah, so you gotta
Yeah.
draw them in
Yeah.
with like you can make good music, and then after you can kind of mix in like, hey, there's a bit of my story, and then you know you kind of have to do both. And then you're an artist as well. Of course, you want to
Yeah.
create something that is
Yeah.
like true to you. So you
Yeah.
kind of have to do something for them, do something for yourself, and
Okay.
keep a little bit of balance between both. Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's crazy that the hook is it's just
hook.
as soon as you learn, you know, like oh, you got to have a hook, then it's like this world opens up. It's like no, there's a hook on everything.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know, it's like well, you got to hook them on your freaking menu. You got to hook them. You know, when they
Yeah.
walk by. We're working on this like new digital thing, and we're like, well, we got to have a hook. You know, it's like it's crazy. It's
Yeah,
crazy how
yeah.
everything seems to be connected. You know, and
you got to draw it and get that attention.
it's crazy, right? And then anytime I interview different people from different like restaurants or different businesses or whatever, the story always boils down to almost the same thing. It's like you got to get the hook. You gotta make sure, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy how everything's different, but it's like it's kind of the same. Yeah.
I mean, because like there's someone out there doing the same thing that you want,
Yeah.
and you kind of have to find a way that you stand out and like
Yeah.
kind of capitalize off of that. So
Exactly.
you gotta have that hook.
Yeah, man. I've got to have the hook. That's the word of the day, the hook, man. Yeah. So, man, do you have things that we haven't touched on yet that you want to make sure that you hit on this interview? We'll do another one in the future for sure, but
okay,
after we do, you know, you launch all your stuff, and then we'll do another
We're
one.
coming
Yeah.
soon. I
Okay.
think the only thing that we got coming up that is like super important, we have a show in Bar 24
Okay.
on June 15th, so you have to make sure you come out. We got a lot of great artists. Sonny and Willie's gonna be there.
Okay.
Joker 242, NTD.
Oh wow.
And we got Rex and me and Mong Chen, so make
Wow.
sure you pop out. Make sure you come outside.
When was this? One more time?
June 15th, Bar 24, that's
Bar
in
24.
Shinyi. Make sure you're there. It's
Bar
left
24.
the barcode. You can't miss it.
Oh, okay. Barcode. Yeah. Shoot, I remember. Man, I never get out. I remember barcode. Shoot, I gotta get out more, man. Yeah, it's been a long, especially Shinyi. That's like, it's like the spot, right?
That's the spot
yeah,
right
yeah.
there.
So
That's
so
the spot.
Shinyi. What else? Shimanding. What are like the hot spots for if you want to go get some live hip hop music? Where do you
Live
go
hip hop music.
in Taiwan, Taipei? Let's
I would
say.
say Barcode definitely has like a good hip hop music list.
Really
Rough is
Interesting.
pretty good too.
Okay.
That's in Shinny as well. Bar
Okay.
24 is awesome. And there was another one, but it's kind of like sometimes it's Flow in Maji Square. But
Okay. Yeah.
sometimes I got that techno days and
Yeah.
So but those,
He's like,
those are you gotta,
skip those days. Yeah.
just come for the hip hop night.
That's funny. No, Maji is awesome. It's been there for a while,
Mm.
but I think every time I go there, like it's getting better all the time.
Really?
And I just feel like that place has like the most potential because it's got the big outdoor area. It's kind of covered,
Yeah.
right? There's like some good bars and some good food and stuff. And it's like I don't know. I think that place could be. I mean, I know they're doing a lot of stuff and it's good now, but I think that place has the potential, because one of the issues we have anytime we do anything and it's like loud or live music or karaoke night or something, there's going to be complaints. Neighbors are going to complain. And I remember our first year we opened here, and the musicians, they're like, hey, we'll come and do a show. I'm like, yeah, well, how big is it? Like, oh, 3-piece band. I'm like, oh, that's cool, 3-piece, that's fine. And then they came in, guy sets up his guitar, we're using the microphones and stuff, and the third guy had like a full drum kit, like the whole thing. And I was like, oh shit, like, oh man, do you have like an electric one? He's like, no, we just have this. I'm like, oh shoot. And it was loud. He was like banging away, and like this whole place is like pulsing. And I thought, oh man, the neighbors are gonna hate us here.
How late do they usually let you go?
Well, after 10, you can stay till 10.
Okay.
After 10, it's kind of like that's the law is 10.
Okay.
Right. So we're okay. But I mean, like, it really depends on the day. Like we used to have a dentist guy upstairs that. Oh, this is the worst. Okay, so we were doing a karaoke night, right? And there's, the reason we took this spot is because this is our third restaurant, right?
Okay.
So we always had neighbor issues at every other place. So this one, we made sure, like, above us, there's like a dentist, so it's like a buffer of at least one floor, and it's like the main road, and it's like totally way more expensive, but it's totally like legit. You can do whatever you want, right? So it's good. And so we're doing like, the karaoke night, and I always have to start, and then, you kind of pass things off, and then you're just kind of like making sure everything was working. And everything's good. Everyone's drinking. Everyone's having a good time. It's like 9 o'clock, like 9:30, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to, we have to wind it down, right? So at like 9:30, it was this old dentist dude upstairs. He comes in. He's like an old Taiwanese man, and he, I can see I'm here, like kind of controlling everything. I see him walk in, talk to his staff, and I'm like, oh, right. It's like your heart sinks. I'm like, okay, cool. Like looking at the clock, I'm like, okay, turn it down a tiny bit, and I'm just like, and then like he's kind of like one of those grumpy old guys who just like he's like snapping his fingers at me, and I'm like, oh. Here we go, Remember you're snapping your fingers at me?
He knows it's you.
That, like, that's not cool, dude, So I'm like, oh my God. And I go over there, and he's like, oh, you put new speakers. It's so loud. I'm like, man, those speakers are like 5 years old, 6 years old. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, you're lying. Turn it off. And the place is full. Like, everybody's screaming and singing, having a good time.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, okay. I'm like, you know what? We're going to call it off at 10. He's like, no, you have to turn it off now. I'm like, come on, man. You want free food? What do you want? And he's just like, no, I don't want any. This is Taiwan. You cannot be loud here. I hate when people say that's like the worst thing. Like, this is Taiwan. You're not allowed to do that here. I'm like, I'm not allowed to make sure everyone's having a good time. I'm like, 10 o'clock, we're going to close it. So he's like, yeah, you better close it. So he calls the police. So him and the police are like waiting at the door at, like 9:30 to 10. They're standing, and the police are chill. They're just like, they just want to leave. The police are chilling. They're good.
It's just him.
And it's just him. He's just like waiting. And I'm like, okay, like 9:59. I'm like, all right, guys, thank you guys for coming out. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye. Just click. And then everyone's like, what's going on? I'm like, man, there's cops at the door, dude. The last thing I need is like the foreigner doesn't, the foreigner's a bad guy,
we don't want that.
It's always that, So I'm like, no. And then we cut it off. And then the cops are just like, see you later. And they left, right? And then he was just kind of standing there. And everyone's like, let's do a couple more. I'm like, no, man, no. I'm going to get shut down for that, man. Come on. Just finish the beers. And then I put like the background music on like super low. And it's like, everybody's chilling. So it was good. That happens a lot. But yeah, that was the only time at this location where the neighbor went crazy. But like all of our previous locations have just been like, they hated us. They're just like, foreigners are bad. I'm like, man,
I don't know, because it's a city, so I thought it would be like more okay to like be loud.
Just
but
be
it's
loud.
like complete opposite.
Anyway, the whole point of that story is Maji has no neighbors.
Yeah.
So it's always good. You can go there. You can be loud, right? So that's what I love about Maji. Yeah. Brother, we're coming up like on almost an hour here, I think. Wow. So why don't you, is there anything that you want to hit? I think we're at 45-ish, 50-ish. Anything you want to make sure that you say before, you got your June 15th, right?
Yeah, I just want to focus so much on that because we're pulling up this show and it's going to be awesome. really want to show support to the artists as well that have been like kind of helping me and stuff. And so make sure you guys come out.
Awesome.
It's free entrance. You don't have to worry about first 300 people free drinks. So make sure you head on down to bar 24.
That sounds good, man.
Let's do it.
Beautiful. Okay. I will get the info from you and I'll put it in the description as well. I'll put like a link in the comments and stuff if people want to go check that out.
Sure, thank you,
brother. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming, man. Thanks for hitting me up, man. I love it.
And make sure you guys eat the cauliflower wings from Eddie's Cantina.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
You gotta have them. You gotta have them for sure. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching the show, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.
Take care.
Thank you everybody for watching Eddie's show. We feel only happiness, don't feel any sorrow. Welcome everybody to watch more on his content, Eddie Live Podcast.